Hello and welcome to Programme 3 from Round 5 of Club 100's race day coverage of our Sprints Championships, and features our second tier invitation class, the Clubman class. Of course, we're still in the southwest of England in Dorset at the superb clay pitching karting facility, which is undergoing something of a redevelopment. Fortunately, the hallowed asphalt of Jensen Button's old stomping ground will remain unchanged. Fiercely competitive and usually entertaining, the Clubman class, like the track, is always worth a watch, and this episode will be no different. As second place in the final at Wilton Mill keeps Danny Hurlock in the championship lead he took over at Red Lodge. Oliver Knights is absent today, and so is Justin Buck in fourth place, so a chance for other drivers to move up or recover lost ground. The drop score system in the 11-round championship allows for the odd miss or two, and also means that the championship won't be decided until the last couple of rounds. Coming up, 2 heats, points from which will set the grid for a championship scoring pre-final. That will be followed by the trophy final, where the driver's fastest lap from the preceding 3 races determines the grid, and of course that final will also count towards the championship. The best 16 final results from the 11-round season will determine the 2015 Clubman class champion. 32 drivers have participated in the championship so far this season, but only 14 on the grid. For Heat 1, it's a random grid. Stuart Osborne in pole position ahead of Tyler Mays. On row 2, David Longman and Keith Mizzen. Andy Cowell and James Small on row 3. Mike Bodner, Steve Townsend on row 4. Daniel Truman and James Hazelhurst on row 5. Amala Yekami makes his debut in Clubman class on grid 11. Championship leader Danny Hurlock on grid 12. Ed Bars and Russell Endine round out the 14. On board with Ed Bars, we've got 4 cameras in the field today. Stuart Osborne gets the whole shot ahead of David Longman, and Andy Cowell's trying to force his way past, and they're side by side on the long drag up to Billy's Blind. Over the crest and across the finish line, because it's a split start finish. Oh, and there's contact down in the long right-hander of turn 2. Into the S's, Stuart Osborne's already got 3, 4, 5 kart lengths, and James Small has come through from grid 6 to second place. Great start for James. Andy Cowell in third, but Longman's down the inside at the hairpin. Runs him out wide, and he's through to third place. And Cowell's looking straight back down the inside in the horseshoe, and he's through. And out behind, everybody's looking for racing room. Side by side through the horseshoe. 2 wide, 3 deep, on board with Bars. You're looking at James Hazelhurst going down the inside of Keith Mizzen in his distinctive Martini race livery suit. And the front 2 are getting away. Stuart Osborne pulling clear of James Small. Hazelhurst tries to get past Mizzen. He's got it done this time. Hazelhurst moves up to 10th. And Longman's looking for a way past Andy Cowell down at the hairpin. Can't get it done, and look up front, Stuart Osborne's been run down by James Small in short order. Back on board here with Russell Endine. You're looking at the back of Tyler Mays in the white suit. This is the battle for 6th place. Getting a run, using all the runoff out the last corner, and Danny Hurlock's got a run on Russell Endine around Billy's Blind. Up front, Osborne under pressure and running wide, and James Small goes through to the lead as Osborne can't hold the line through the corner, and Endine's got his position back from Danny Hurlock. So Endine back in 7th place. Down at the hairpin, Bodner goes half a kart width narrower to hold off Tyler Mays. Keith Mizzen forcing a pass back through on James Hazelhurst as he makes a mistake. Ed Bars on the outside, not the best place to be. It's a long way around the outside. Can he get inside for that right-hander? Yes, he can. Hazelhurst wisely gives him room. Oh, and Osborne's run wide off the last corner. And on the drag up to the line, David Longman moves through to second place. Sets his sights on James Small, but Small is going quickly and pulling away. Remember, fastest lap times from the heats and the pre-final set the grid for the main trophy final. So not only are you looking for positions in this heat to get a better grid position for the pre-final, but you're also looking for a fast time for your grid position for the final. It's a tricky balancing act. Endine looking to put a move on Tyler Mays, and he goes through. So Mays drops back to 7th place. And the next target for Russell Endine, coming through from 14th on the grid, is Mike Bodner in 5th. And ahead of him is Stuart Osborne. And Bodner's looking to go round the outside of Billy's Blind for the inside of turn 2. Can't get it done, but runs wide, and Russell Endine forces a pass in before the chicane. So Endine moves up to 5th. And Bodner's on the defensive once again to hold off Tyler Mays. Down the inside of Keith Mizzen goes Ed Bars. James Hazelhurst and Steve Townsend bring through the tail of the pack. They're in 12th and 13th place. Amala Yekemi struggling for pace in this first heat. I'm sure he'll get up to speed pretty quickly, but he runs in 14th place off the back of the field. Not entirely a bad place to be if you want to set a fast time, of course. So the battle for third place, Andy Cowell, Stuart Osborne, Russell Endine. And Osborne's run wide off the corner and a chance for Endine to get inside before the S. Oh, he's very close to that cone. He wobbled it, but he hasn't knocked it over. Now knocking a cone over will get you a one-place deduction. Down the inside, Tyler Mays of Mike Bodner. And Tyler Mays moves back into 6th place. Andy Cowell doing his best to hold off Russell Endine now. Now these cones are important. They're designed to protect the carts from the curbs, or perhaps the carts from the drivers using the curbs is perhaps more accurate. So between the white lines belongs to the drivers. Everything else is out of bounds. And Andy Cowell under pressure once again from Endine, coming from a long way back, and that move wasn't really on, and he's forced to pass through. Andy Cowell might be a little bit aggrieved with that one. Responsibility for a clean pass belongs to the driver coming from behind. Bodner on the defensive once again, trying to hold off Tyler Mays in their fight for 6th place, and that's back Mays up into Daniel Truman, who's got around the outside of him into the horseshoe. Back on board with Ed Bars, looking at Keith Mizzen, trying to find a way past Danny Hurlock in 9th place. It's a quiet start to this round from the championship leaders, side by side Truman and Bodner's run out wide and just about keeps it off the tyres. And look at the ground he's lost. Hurlock, Bars, Mizzen have all gone through. David Longman sets the fastest lap. Oh, push there from Tyler Mays. He's wise to let Danny Truman back through. Advantage by contact will cost positions as well. We do call these penalties. Mizzen looking at the inside of Bars. Not on. So Bars follows Danny Hurlock in 9th place. Closing stages now. We're coming up to start the penultimate lap. And David Longman is running down James Small for the lead. It's 0.3 of a second as they come up to start finish. Russell Endine is 2 seconds off the lead in 3rd place ahead of Andy Cowell, Stuart Osborne in 5th. Streaming through Billy's Blind up to turn 2. And Ed Bars wants to find a way past Danny Hurlock. He's been tapping on the bumper and he's pushed through into the S's. So Danny Hurlock is down to 9th place. And here comes Tyler Mays down the inside of Daniel Truman. And how close was he to taking out Stuart Osborne? Narrow margins here in the Clubman class. And Danny Hurlock trying to find a way back past Ed Bars and holding off Keith Mizzen towards the finish. We're coming round to start the final lap and we've got a race on at the front. James Small is under pressure from David Longman and he goes narrow into turn 2. Shows Longman the outside. It's the crisscross on for Longman. He's looking at the inside, can't get it done in the S's. James has got to be clean and he's got to be narrowed down to this hairpin. And he's gone narrow, shows him the outside, moves back to the racing line. Not sure if that doesn't count as more than one move, but he's got away with it. Into the horseshoe, and it's difficult now. It's going to be the last long drag to the finish line for David Longman, but James Small went deep into the horseshoe in the last corner. There's a chance here for David. He's got to nail this exit on the long drag. Which way is he going to go? James Small covers to the inside and he will cover off to the finish. Small wins from Longman, gap to Endine. Andy Cowell in 4th place, Stuart Osborne 5th ahead of Tyler Mays. So 3/4 of an hour have passed or so. We're on to Heat 2. This is the flip round of the Heat 1 grid. In pole position now, Russell Endine, Ed Bars on the front row, Danny Hurlock, Amala Yekemi on row 2, James Hazelhurst, Daniel Truman on row 3, Stephen Townsend, Mike Bodner, James Small, Andy Cowell round out the top 10, Keith Mizzen 11th, David Longman 12th, Tyler Mays and the poleman from Heat 1, Stuart Osborne rounds out the 14. Pace car ready to pull off, trying to slow the field down. We're going for slow starts and clear Pigeon. And we're racing now, and Russell Endine's got the whole shot ahead of Ed Bars, and Danny Hurlock, I think, has pushed through to 2nd place. The drag uphill to Billy's Blind, and it's side by side, and Ed Bars has got the position back as they go sweeping through Billy's Blind into turn 2. Will they all make it through cleanly? Pretty much. Oh, Tyler Mays forcing a pass inside of Keith Mizzen, desperate to get off the back of the field, and Russell Lettendean's trying to make a break from it from the gun. Ed Bars trying to go with him. Mays looking to the inside of Stuart Osborne, but Osborne is down the inside of Steve Townsend at the horseshoe. Andy Cowell inside of Amala Yekami runs him out wide, and Amala loses another spot. He started 4th on the grid. It's quite a baptism of fire here for him in Clubman class. It's a small field, but it's highly competitive, and Longman's looking to get a run on Amala as they go sweeping uphill across the finish line. Up to turn 2, down the inside, yeah, it's on, and he's coming through, runs him out wide. That's another position gain for David Longman and Daniel Truman, all sideways off the corner, and James Small is through before the horseshoe. Was he pushed? Was there contact, or was that just a bit sloppy on the exit of the S's for Danny Truman? Down the inside, Andy Cowell punishes him again in the horseshoe. We're coming through to finish lap 2, and Russell Endine's got Ed Bars hard on his bumper as they run up to the finish line. Danny Hurlock in 3rd place ahead of James Hazelhurst. Here's the battle for the lead. Endine forced to go narrow into turn 2. That pushes him out wide off the corner, and here comes Ed Bars in the S's. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. Now he's going to have to cover off down at the hairpin. He's got it covered for now, but he moves back to the racing line, and Russell Endine's down the inside and back through. Endine wants this win, and Danny Hurlock now in the mix. Obviously he's conscious of his championship lead, wants a good grid slot for the pre-final where the championship points begin. Ed Bars once again inside at the last corner. That would probably be a mistake in the early stages of a heat. That's something you say for the last lap of a final, as we've seen in Premier class. Ed Bars cuts to the inside through Billy's Blind. Will he go round the outside into turn 2? It's a big ask. Endine keeps the spot. Bars back on his bumper in the S's, prevents Danny Hurlock getting through, and it's 4-way at the front. Endine on the defensive, and this is how you defend down at the hairpin. Shows Ed Bars the outside, he's going to pin him there as well. Danny Hurlock queries the pitch as well. James Hazelhurst gets his nose in. He won't be able to go round the outside of that right-hander. Too fast, no braking. And now we're back to a group of 5 with James Small, or is it 6 with Mike Bodner? And Andy Cowell's trying to get on the tail of it as well in 7th. James Small looking to find a way past James Hazelhurst. Is it on? No mistakes. So it's Endine, Bars, Hurlock, and now Hazelhurst looks like he's under real pressure from James Small down at the hairpin. He's forced to go narrow. That will make James slow off the corner. There's a chance here for James Small into the horseshoe. Once again, Hazelhurst half a cart width narrow. Andy Cowell inside of Mike Bodner for 6th place. Pod to pod, and they're pod to pod again through the right-hander. Just about enough room. Mike Bodner leaves Andy Cowell. They run all the way out to the rumble strip on the exit of the last corner, and it's Endine under pressure from Bars. Gap to Hurlock. Look how narrow Endine is into turn 2, and David Longman down the inside of Daniel Truman, and Andy Cowell is pushing through on Mike Bodner. Side by side in the S is too wide. Oh, there's contact, and Mike Bodner, contact on Andy Cowell puts him into the barrier down at the hairpin. Longman behind Daniel Truman. There's a gap now where Bodner and Andy Cowell were. Ed Bars under pressure from Danny Hurlock. Russell Endine's pulled out a cart length, if that, half a cart length. And we've still got a 5-way fight for the lead with James Hazelhurst and James Small. I can tell you Mike Bodner has picked up a penalty for that incident with Andy Cowell. It's an exclusion. I shall read it. It's 17C, gaining advantage by contact, which results in and is responsible for a driver coming to a halt. Exclusion at the end of the race, no points for the race in which the offence is committed. Well, we've missed a couple of moves there. Danny Hurlock's moved ahead of Ed Bars. We're back with the second group here, headed by David Longman, Daniel Truman, Tyler Mays we were riding with briefly, Stuart Osborne, Mike Bodner, Steve Townsend, Keith Mizzen, Amala Yekami, again off the back, but getting quicker. So Truman under pressure from Mays. We ride with Mays down into turn 2. Truman ahead of us. Longman making his escape. That's the fight for 7th place now. James Hazelhurst holding off James Small, and they're losing touch with the trio at the front. James Small will want to be by, I'm sure. I'm also sure that James Hazelhurst won't want to let him by. So coming round to start the penultimate lap, Russell Endine's lead is 0.2 of a second ahead of Danny Hurlock. Ed Barr's looking for a way by. He's going to try that move up the inside of Billy's Blind, but he puts him on the outside for the long way round of turn 2. That's a difficult move to make. Mays goes a long way in, but holds the inside curb and is through to 7th place. Hurlock holding off Ed Bars, goes in very deep, and this is a chance for Ed on the exit. Yes, it's through. Ed Bars up to 2nd, and we now have a 4-way fight for 2nd place. Tyler Mays and Daniel Truman trying to decide who's going to chase after David Longman, and I think Longman is free and clear as we come round to start the final lap. Endine's lead now is 0.4 of a second, but over Ed Bars. Danny Hurlock, James Hazelhurst under pressure from James Small. I can't believe I've not seen James Small fire one up the inside into one of these corners. A few corners from the finish. The hairpin, the horseshoe, the last corner, and the long drag to the line left. Where's it going to be? Hazelhurst, a full cart width and a bit more narrow into the hairpin. Slow off the corner. Chance for Small maybe up the inside. No, it's covered off once again. And Hazelhurst is running an expert defence. Into the right-hander, cutting to the inside. James Small takes to the curbs, and he's through. It took something a little bit agricultural to get it done, but it's been done. Russell Endine wins Heat 2, and that will be pole position for the pre-final. Ed Bars is 2nd, Danny Hurlock, James Small, James Hazelhurst in 5th. David Longman comes through in 6th place. Well, welcome back, and now it becomes serious with the pre-final. Russell Endine in pole position ahead of James Small, David Longman and Ed Bars on row 2. Danny Hurlock, the championship leader, on row 3 with Tyler Mays, Stuart Osborne, James Hazelhurst on row 4. Andy Cowell on row 5 with Daniel Truman, Keith Mizzen, Steve Townsend, Amala Ayekami and Mike Bodner round out the 14. Rolling up to the start line, Russell Endine controls the pace, the Union flag at the ready and is dropped, and we're into turn 1, which will be the last corner at the finish. Off the corner, James Small trying to get on the bumper of Russell Endine. Ed Bars trying to look down the inside, but James Small is determined to keep that bumper. And now looking to the inside into the S's, can he get it done? It's not on. Russell Endine covers that move off. And the crocodile streamed through the S's for the first time, down to the hairpin, and Endine's got a cart length going in. Andy Cowell moving up on Stuart Osborne. That would be for 9th place if he can get it done around the outside. Yes, the road's going to go back in his favour. So coming across the start line into the last corner. And the drag uphill on board with Tyler Mays, looking at the back of David Longman in 4th place, and it's Endine and James Small to the fore as they go down to turn 2, and here comes Tyler Mays from a long way back, gets his wheels inside, there's nothing that Longman can do, and Danny Hurlock nips through on the exit, and James Small's grabbed the lead into the S's, down to the hairpin. Half a cart width narrow, a turn in to hold off Endine, showing him the outside, and there's nothing he can do about it. Shows him the outside in the horseshoe, a lunge up the inside from Endine, side by side with Small. Is this a chance for Ed Bars to get in the mix? Endine was conscious of that, he looked over his shoulder, going through the right-hander, and Ed Bars has moved on the bumper, and we have a 3-way fight for the lead. And we have a 3-way fight for 4th place. Tyler Mays, Danny Hurlock, David Longman, and Hurlock is down the inside of Mays, comes from a long way back, a chance maybe, for David Longman, who gives Tyler Mays a shot into the S's, and now it's a 5-way fight for 4th place, as both Daniel Truman and Andy Cowell join in. Gap then to Hazelhurst, Osborne, Bodner, Mizzen, Amala Ayekami in the thick of it now. David Longman to the inside of Tyler Mays for 5th place, conscious of not losing touch with the leading quartet, as Danny Hurlock is moving up the road. Andy Cowell using all the road on the exit of the right-hander. Out of the last corner. Everybody trying to get in the toe of the cart ahead. Mays looking to the inside with a rather speculative one. Wasn't going to press it in Billy's blind. And James Small's pulled out a couple of cart lengths on Russell Ending. Ending will be conscious not to lose the toe. But I think he's lost it already. Mays takes a look over his shoulder. It's Andy Cowell in 6th place behind him. Light brake into the last corner, then back on it, full throttle, all the way up to Billy's blind. Mays takes another look. And look at that, James Small sets the fastest lap, and that's a quick one. And remember, that lap time will be useful. That'll be pole position for the main final, and Ed Bars goes through to 2nd place, and Andy Cowell has moved through on Tyler Mays in the S's. It's all beginning to boil up once again. This is a 15-lap final, but it's just like the heats. So the battle for 2nd place, the battle for 5th place. Andy Cowell on board with Tyler Mays, Ed Bars in 2nd, Danny Hurlock looking for a way by. Remember, he's trying to defend a championship lead here. James Small, look at the gap that he's pulling out here, and Danny Hurlock's seen enough, and he's trying to go round the outside for the inside of turn 2. Side by side, side pod to side pod, into the S's, and Ed Bars lifts. You just can't go through the S's too wide. And Hurlock is in 2nd. Bars, Ending, Longman, and a small gap to Andy Cowell, Tyler Mays, Daniel Truman. Mike Bodner, I think, has just picked off Keith Mizzen and James Hazelhurst into the horseshoe. So Bodner moves up to 10th place. Coming round to start lap 7, Mays takes a look. It's Daniel Truman on his bumper, and once again James Small moves the mark for pole position out a bit further for the main trophy final. Looks as though he could be on for maximum points, because he looks quick here at Clay Pigeon. Mizzen and Amala side by side, and that's why you can't go through the S's too wide. On board with Ending, looking for a way past Ed Bars, just following for now. We'll look to get a perfect exit to this last corner, get in that slipstream, see if there's a toe on. Up to Billy's blind, and a slingshot maybe down the inside into turn 2. And Longman is closing in here. It looks as though we're going to have a 4-way fight for 2nd place. Oh, bouncing through the curbs in the S's. Hurlock has to go defensive now to hold off Ed Bars down at the hairpin. Oh, what a good move. Possibly even using Danny Hurlock as a brake there. Ending tries to get the move done, and it's done. I wonder if he'll get away without advantage by contact. David Longman went through as well. Ed Bars, the unlucky driver, drops to 4th place. But they're all still running, and they're all in line. And it's still not just halfway in this pre-final, so plenty of time. And Andy Cowell is trying to get across to join this group. Longman trying to hold off Ed Bars into turn 2, and once again into the S's. A lot of curve by Danny Hurlock going in and on the exit. Mays takes a look over his shoulder. Dan Truman is a couple of cart lengths off. He's losing touch. So the race has settled into its rhythm, and Andy Cowell is closing in on Ed Bars. It's looking like a 5-way fight for 2nd place now, and Tyler Mays might get across yet. Needs to get a good toe. And here they come: Hurlock, Ending, Longman, Bars, Cowell, Tyler Mays, Dan Truman. Bars to the inside into the S's. Well, I think he might have rehearsed that lap before. Very strong out of turn 2. Ed Bars, Longman straight back at him, given an opening. Bars didn't have it covered off, but he had the line into the horseshoe. So keeps the spot, but loses ground on Russell Ending. And we're moving into the final third of the race. James Small's lead is 5 seconds ahead of Danny Hurlock. He's got half a second on Russell Endine, half a second again on Ed Bars. Longman to the inside of Bars into turn 2, goes a long way in, and I think Bars will get it back on the exit. Yes, he will. So it's boiling up now towards the finish. Longman once again looks to the inside in the horseshoe. This time Ed Bars has it covered off a little bit more effectively. And of course David Longman will be conscious of Andy Cowell looking to pick out and pick up a position if he can on the cheap. And of course Daniel Truman's doing exactly the same thing with Tyler Mays. Truman ahead of Tyler Mays. Back on board with Mays through Billy's blind. Everybody's just waiting for the slightest error from the driver ahead, and Truman down the inside into the S's. Contact with Cowell off the track. Oh, and he nearly collected him coming back on, and he's once again in the barrier. And I saw a hand up there from Truman. I think he's accepting responsibility for that one. Mays has gone by. Well, Andy Cowell is uninjured, but that's about the best thing we can say. So look at the leader now, James Small. He's pulled out, what is that, 5.5 seconds plus on Danny Hurlock, Russell Endine, Ed Bars, David Longman, Tyler Mays under pressure from Dan Truman. But this final is going to be maximum points to James Small, his first win of the season. Hurlock under pressure from Russell Endine, and look what's happened with the demise of Andy Cowell. The field is split open at the front, and James Small is heading for victory. The battle is on over the minor places. Danny Hurlock, Russell Endine. Then a gap to Ed Bars, David Longman. Gap again then to Tyler Mays, Dan Truman, Stuart Osborne looking comfortable in 8th place. Well clear of Mike Bodner, Keith Mizzen. So we're on the penultimate lap. Danny Hurlock's not been particularly strong through the S's, and once again he's having to cover off a move down at the hairpin. And here comes David Longman to the inside of Ed Bars. Bars gives him enough room to get his nose in and through. And Ed Bars drops to 5th place. Still his most competitive run in the Clubman class this season from Ed. Danny Hurlock, the championship leader, was fairly quiet in the heats. He's doing just enough to defend his championship lead. Look at the lead that James Small has got. It's out well over 7 seconds now. Hurlock's got 0.3 of a second on Russell Endine, and that's a championship battle right there with Endine. David Longman under pressure from Ed Bars. I think Ed might still have something left for David towards the finish, but he's running out of corners. Tyler Mays seems to have seen off Daniel Truman, so Mays is going to finish in 6th place, barring any mistakes. Ed Bars still looking for a way by, but looking for a clean move, that's for sure. Out of the last corner to the finish. What a win for James Small. Look at the gap that he's got on Danny Hurlock. Only coming up to the finish now, but 2nd place is good for the championship, as is 3rd place for Russell Endine. Tyler Mays, Daniel Truman, Stuart Osborne in 8th place, Mike Bodner and Keith Mizzen round out the top 10. Oh yes, we've got another 15 laps of this nonsense. In pole position for the main trophy final, and no surprise to see it's James Small. David Longman on the front row with him. These grids were set by fastest lap. Ed Bars and Danny Hurlock on row 2. Russell Endine and Andy Cowell on row 3. Tyler Mays, Daniel Truman, James Hazelhurst and Stephen Townsend round out the top 10. Stuart Osborne, Keith Mizzen, Mike Bodner and Amala Ayekemi round out the 14. 15 laps, could it get any more entertaining or competitive? I think it can. James Small gets the whole shot, and Hurlock's got on the bumper of Ed Bars ahead of Andy Cowell. David Longman's lost a couple of kart lengths, giving Ed Bars a chance on 2nd place. Side by side, he'll have the inside for turn 2. Will he fight it out? Yes, he will. He goes through, ending very hard and very late into the side there of Danny Hurlock. Where's Hurlock come back in? Down in the mid-pack. Truman takes a look over his shoulder, trying to hold off Osborne. Oh, ending late and hard on David Longman. So Russell Ending coming out very aggressive out of the traps. Across the start line, we start lap 2 when we get to the finish line. And here is the finish line. We're riding briefly on board with Tyler Mays, looking for a way past David Longman, trying to hang on his bumper as Longman tries to find his way back past Russell Ending. Ending, I guess, is conscious of not letting James Small get away like he did in the pre-final. Bars on the defensive, and he's learning. He's going narrow into the hairpin, and he's staying narrow, not opening up a lane late on. And he's narrow into the horseshoe, giving Longman a chance to recover a spot from Russell Ending. That seems only fair. Coming round to finish lap 2, and James Small's lead is already 1.8 seconds. They've lost the slipstream, and he's pulling clear. This looks like it could be a double for James Small, and we're only on to lap 3 of 15. Bars manages to hold off David Longman into turn 2. Into the S's, and they're beginning to queue up behind Ed Bars. He's 0.6 of a second off the pace of race leader James Small. Down at the hairpin, and here comes Russell Ending from a long way back. But he's inside David Longman, and that's pretty clean. Runs him out wide, gives him a squeeze on the exit. And third place is his. So just a little bit of rubbing there from David Longman in the horseshoe. And here comes Tyler Mays, side by side, looking for 4th place. Can he get it done? He's through. And Andy Cowell sticks his nose in. And Longman's run out wide to the curb. And Marc Marquez style, Tyler Mays is down behind the Nassau panel. Not sure if that works, but he thinks it does, and that's all that matters. And he's run out wide by Andy Cowell, feeling his way by side pod to side pod through the S's, and Danny Hurlock's back through as Tyler Mays is shuffled down the line through the S's. Longman in hard and late, and here comes Stuart Osborne through as well, and Tyler Mays is really being slapped about a bit for a couple of corners. Ed Barr side by side with Ending, keeps the spot, and Andy Cowell now makes it a 3-way fight for second place. There's your race leader. Look at the advantage he's got, and most of that has been done behind Ed Bars, holding up the rest of the field. Ending looking to go through at turn 2. Long way back, late and hard. It's elbows out time. There's not a lot of give and take going on here. Down to the hairpin. On board with David Longman, looking at the back of Danny Hurlock. Longman is in 7th place. Oh, more contact on Ed Bars from Andy Cowell. He's on the wrong side for the right-hander. Forced to lift, get back in line, then get back on it through the last corner. Bars runs out wide, or was he pushed? He's not happy, but it's a 4-way fight for 3rd place behind Russell Ending. Here we go, Danny Hurlock looking to the inside of Andy Cowell into turn 2. Longman sticks his nose in, and it's 3 wide as Ed Barr sticks his nose in into the S's. 3 wide will never work in there. There's contact, Cowell on Bars. Bars is looking to keep it off the barrier, and I'm amazed we've only lost Andy Cowell in that incident into the S's. Well, let's reset this field. We're on lap 6, coming to the end of it. James Small's lead is 4 seconds ahead of Russell Ending, 1.5 seconds clear of Danny Hurlock in 3rd place. David Longman is 0.8 of a second behind him. Tyler Mays is pretty much on his bumper. Stuart Osborne now moves up to 6th place ahead of Daniel Truman. Ed Barr's down in 7th, but running. Meanwhile, Andy Cowell is still parked in the S's. Just getting started now. Barr's looking to the inside of Dan Truman into chicane. Can't get it done. It should be said that Dan Truman didn't pick up a penalty in Heat 2 for his incident with Andy Cowell into the S's. And I think we can call certainly that last one just a racing incident. 3 wide just doesn't work through there. You'd be pushed to do it rolling up, never mind in the middle of a final. Keith Mizzen running in 10th place ahead of James Hazelhurst. Steve Townsend and Amala Yekimi is actually staying on the tail of the leading pack now. So Amala's speed is picked up through the event. No surprise. So we're through half distance. James Small's lead is 4.3 seconds ahead of Russell Ending. He's now got 2 seconds clear of Danny Hurlock. This is the real fight on the track now for 3rd place. On board with David Longman. Tyler Mays behind us in 5th place, Stuart Osborne still in touch. Dan Truman, Ed Bars in 8th. So Hurlock defending his championship lead, and a 3rd place would probably be a good return, along with the 2nd place from the pre-final, although I have a feeling David Longman has designs on the podium. Once again, Hurlock struggling with the S's, just not getting the line right, and Longman is looking for a wave eye down at the hairpin, shown the outside, and that has backed the field up, and it looked as though Daniel Truman has picked off Stuart Osborne for 6th place. Tyler Mays now joins the fight. David Longman has indeed moved through to 3rd place, out of the horseshoe. Truman, Osborne, and on board with Ed Bars, looking to use the slipstream up to Billy's blind. Is there a slingshot on into turn 2? Not this time. Osborne runs a little bit wide, and is this a chance for Bars into the S's? Oh, contact. Osborne keeps the spot, and the pair of them lose ground on Daniel Truman. Once again, Bars looks to the inside of the hairpin. Can't get it done. And we're moving into the final third of this final. James Small's lead, 5 seconds. We look back for Russell Endine. Here he comes through Billy's blind. Now comfortably 3 seconds clear of David Longman. Danny Hurlock, Tyler Mays, Dan Truman. Gap then to Stuart Osborne. Still once again under pressure from Ed Bars, who's quick through the last corner and on the run up to turn 2. And in the S's. Not close enough to strike at the hairpin though. Gap then to Mike Bodner in 9th place ahead of Keith Mizzen. James Hazelhurst, Steve Townsend, and Marler still in touch. Andy Cowell, I'm afraid, has exited to the pit lane. He's had enough. Closing stages, Mike Bodner trying to hold on to 9th place ahead of Keith Mizzen. Danny Hurlock holding off Tyler Mays to the finish. It looks as though David Longman's made his break. Can't live with the pace of Longman. Hurlock under pressure from Tyler Mays. Once again, Bodner doing his best to hold off Mizzen, Hazelhurst and Townsend. The long drag through Billy's blind, and Mizzen takes a chance. Decides to lift though, more conscious of James Hazelhurst perhaps, and it hasn't worked because he has lost the spot to James into turn 2. Back on board with Tyler Mays. Danny Hurlock defending 4th place. Covers to the inside of the horseshoe. Mays will have to follow, and he's got to be conscious of Dan Truman on his bumper. He knows he's there, he'll be able to hear him. So is there a chance here for Daniel Truman to pick up a spot or 2 in the closing stages? Looks to the inside of Billy's blind. Can he get it done? It means the long way around a turn 2, and Mays is wise to it. Slows the cart down, manages to hold that inside line off turn 2. Prevents the crisscross. A little bit slow out of the S's, and once again he's defensive down at the hairpin, and this is bringing back Stuart Osborne and Ed Bars. On board with Bars into the horseshoe. And we could have a 5-way fight here for 4th place before the finish. We've certainly got no fight on at the front. Look at the advantage onto the final lap for James Small. It's 6 seconds ahead of Russell Endine, who in turn has got just under 3 seconds on David Longman. So Longman is edging in, but there's obviously no time. We're on the final lap, and it looks as though Hurlock's got a couple of cart lengths into the S's, which he'll need because he's not been quick in there. James Hazelhurst under pressure from Mike Bodner, and I think Danny Hurlock's going to have 4th place here because Tyler Mays is busy trying to hold off Daniel Truman. 12 seconds up the road, your race leader James Small. What a day, back-to-back wins. He wins by 6 seconds ahead of Russell Endine. David Longman will finish in 3rd place. Danny Hurlock comes through to 4th place, and he maintains a 67-point lead in the championship over new 2nd place man in the championship, James Small. Daniel Truman is 3rd in the championship, a further 3 points back.
So 3rd place and his first trophy with Club 100, and I know he's delighted. Well done, driver number 10, David Longman. Well done, David.
Thank you.
Well done, mate. It's come at last.
Finally.
And to our runner-up then, driver number 1, Russell Endy. The winner for round number 5 in the Clubman class here at Clay Pigeon. Well done, driver number 2, James Small. Well done, another ripple of applause. And obviously James Small not only getting the 1st place trophy, but highest finishing baby clubman.